luckily I got exposed to FIDIC form of contracts, NEC.
Yeah.
And I think the NEC was the point where I really moved into that change management component, right? The early warnings, the compensation events.
Yeah.
And I think that really gave that contractual commercial perspective that in FIDIC you don't get. No. FIDIC is purely retrospective way, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much you keep executing, and after 3 to 6 months of having the issue, you will prepare your extension of time claim, right? While NEC, it's prospective. The half-step scheduling, the way that you need to position yourself.
And the time barring piece is obviously key to it as well. You can't wait 1 year, 2 years to go, oh, by the way, 2 years ago this happened and now it's going to cost you this on time and cost. So the NEC, the UK contracts, for any of the international listeners out there, they are quite contractual, I would say, but project controls perspective, they require you to do a lot. But that a lot means control to a certain degree. You need to have your commercial team. You need to have your scheduling team. You need to have your admin team writing the letters or whatever way you are communicating requirements within under the contract. But I think that on an international perspective, FIDIC is still I find it's still a good contract to have when compared to a lot of local contracts. Like FIDIC still stipulates what needs to be done to a certain degree. It gives good guidance in comparison. For example, we have the Danish contracts here in Denmark, and really they're very general in comparison to FIDIC and or the NEC form of contracts. The AB contracts are very loose in terms of what, there's no real guidance. All they're suggesting is that you do something around cost or time, but they're not saying that you need to have A, B, C, D done every month and you need to have this and this in place. It doesn't really say that.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, instead of reinventing the wheel and having a bespoke local form of contract, I would rather go to FIDIC.
Yeah.
But if I have the option between NEC and FIDIC, I will definitely go to NEC. From the perspective of project controls, as you explain, I think it really frames it in a much nicer way from, again, the prospective point of view. I rather have it done in that way because I used the example when I was in FIDIC contracts, right? Usually, and when I was in the beginning of my career, you will sense a lack of commitment from the team to reflect, again, prospectively, the way that you needed to execute the contract and execute the works. So after 1 week, 2 weeks of not having a schedule that represents, what we need to execute in the upcoming weeks, the construction team starts to lose the confidence on the planning team, the confidence on the schedule. When you are on NEC, obviously the perspective changes because you need to reflect it. Your early warning needs to be included straight away. You need to have a realistic schedule and the realistic sequence for the upcoming weeks or days. So that really builds more trust, in my view, more commitment, brings the people together. And I think that's key.
Because it's not a nice to have, it's a need to have. You have to do it to be compliant with your contract.
Of course.
And so it's enforced. And if it's enforced, we need to do it. If it's suggestive and it's not an enforcement, then people will step away or back from it in reality. And that's the biggest challenges I think out there when it comes to contracts is twofold. It's people's understanding of what's necessary in contracts and people's understanding of the contracts themselves. Because the contract might be weak, but for you you might need to do more than what the contract is asking just so to control your project.
Absolutely.
And it's in your best interest to maybe consider that in relation to setting up the project. As you see, oversimplified processes, oversimplified execution methodologies.
Yes, I think the problem is obviously, as you probably notice as well, is, the contractor won't take the initiative.
You don't have to.
On its own. If it's not written, if it's not a requirement.
Why should they?
Exactly.